Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat. I am a women's health blogger and I also share videos here on YouTube that discuss a lot about women's health and female empowerment. Today's video is going to be focused all about talking about some of the common myths and misconceptions that surround endometriosis. Now, endometriosis is something that's pretty personal to me as a woman who has struggled with endometriosis for many years. I've struggled with painful periods, I've struggled with infertility and chronic pain, and it was just recently, this past spring, that I was actually diagnosed with endometriosis. And I heard and I found through my research and learning more about endometriosis that there are just so many myths and misconceptions surrounding endometriosis that even me, as a person who was just diagnosed, was believing, or that I thought, or I had this perception about endometriosis that I learned and I came to realize were actually false. So I want to share some of these 12 misconceptions that I heard a lot when it came to, or as it related to, endometriosis. So if maybe you think that you have endometriosis or you know someone that does, you have a better understanding and a better idea of what endometriosis is actually. So one of the first myths or misconceptions surrounding endometriosis is that endometriosis is just a painful period. Now, I myself, before I was diagnosed and for quite some time when I thought of endometriosis, I related it to being a painful period, but I came to realize as time grew on, as my symptoms progressed, that that is actually not true. While indeed endometriosis and having a painful period, these two are linked because painful periods are usually a common sign of endometriosis, and many women with endometriosis do experience very painful periods. There are also other symptoms associated with endometriosis that can cause pain and dysfunction outside of your menstruation or outside of your period. Things such as having painful bowel movements, painful urination, painful intercourse, things as simple as having hormonal imbalance, thyroid issues, issues with your blood pressure. There are a lot of different ways that endometriosis can cause chaos within your body outside of just having a painful period. Now, the second myth or misconception that is not essentially associated with just endometriosis, it's kind of a stigma in regards to periods in general, and that is that painful periods are normal. So this is absolutely false. Now, periods are not going to be fun. They're not going to be a walk in the park. They're not supposed to be easy breezy or anything that resembles a Tampax commercial where everyone is happy at the beach, hanging out, chilling. That is not the true picture of periods. Periods can be uncomfortable. They can cause pain and discomfort, and you can experience a multitude of different symptoms associated with your period that's not always pleasant. But if you have an excruciatingly painful period where you are missing work, where you are missing school, you're not able to function and do normal day-to-day activities, you're in excruciating pain where it's on a scale of 1 to 10, you say that you're at a 50 or it feels like it's at 100, you are nauseous and vomiting, you have extreme bowel discomfort, you are not able to eat food or take any medication, and if you do take medication, it does nothing to help ease your pain and discomfort. That is not normal. That is a sign that something is wrong, and usually that means or indicates there's an underlying issue that needs to be addressed. Whether that is endometriosis or it's any other reproductive dysfunction or reproductive disorder that is causing you to have such painful periods, you definitely need to seek your medical professional and discuss what you're experiencing so that you can get properly diagnosed. The third misconception regarding endometriosis is that heavy bleeding or heavy menstrual flow is a sign or a symptom of endometriosis. Now, this is not all the way true. While having heavy bleeding may indicate that you have an issue with endometriosis, that is not a surefire sign that you do have endometriosis. And that's for a couple of reasons. One reason is that menstrual flow is going to vary from person to person and woman to woman. So you may have heavy menstrual flow for the first 3 to 4 days of your period and it tapers off. And that could be completely normal for you. It becomes an issue with heavy menstrual bleeding if you notice that you are soaking through your menstrual products within the span of about an hour or an hour and a half. You're having to change out your tampon, your pad, or your menstrual cup, and that is happening for a prolonged period, such as maybe if your period is 5 days, every single day of your period you're experiencing that, or you're having issues with anemia due to heavy menstrual bleeding due to your period. This can be a sign of endometriosis, but it can also be a sign of another underlying condition such as fibroids, uterine polyps. It can also be a sign of cancer. So you definitely need to seek a medical professional if you are experiencing heavy menstrual bleeding or prolonged periods in that sense. You need to seek out your medical professional so that you can get a proper diagnosis and see what is causing or contributing to your heavy menstrual flow. The fourth misconception surrounding endometriosis is that the more severe your symptoms are, the more severe your endometriosis. And this is false. Endometriosis is a very confusing cluster kind of a disease. So it manifests itself into each woman differently. While some women may have a mild form of endometriosis, they can experience very intense pain, and other women can have a severe form of endometriosis and experience little to no pain at all, and they may not even have any symptoms that indicate that they may have endometriosis. So your pain level has nothing to do with how severe or what stage of endometriosis that you are in. That is going to be something that is going to be determined during your actual surgery, that your doctor is going to be able to let you know then what stage of endometriosis you were, and that has nothing to do with your pain level at all. The fifth misconception about endometriosis is that pregnancy cures endometriosis. This is a myth that is not only something that is spread back and forth amongst women or being told to endometriosis sufferers from people outside of the medical community, but it's also something, unfortunately, that we come against within the medical community. And the fact of the matter is that pregnancy does not cure endometriosis. In reality, what happens is when you get pregnant, your body is producing more progesterone, and this is going to slow the growth and decrease the overall symptoms of endometriosis within the body. But in the majority of cases, after the woman gives birth or after the woman completes breastfeeding, they will notice that their endometriosis symptoms and the endometrial growth will continue to happen. And for some women, they've even reported that it happens at an even faster rate, or they notice that their symptoms become more aggressive. So pregnancy is not a cure for endometriosis. The sixth misconception about endometriosis is that endometriosis automatically means that you're infertile or that you're going to struggle with fertility. And this is false. The reason this is false is that not every woman that has endometriosis struggles with fertility. There are plenty of women who have endometriosis and that are able to get pregnant and have children, just like there are women with endometriosis that struggle with fertility and that struggle with getting pregnant. And that could be for a variety of different reasons. Now, endometriosis can cause complications such as infertility due to the fact of scarring and adhesions developing within the reproductive organs, specifically the fallopian tubes and the ovaries, where it creates blockages or it creates adhesions or it adheres to other organs within the body, and that can lead to infertility or cause issues with ovulation dysfunction. But in and of itself, endometriosis doesn't automatically mean you're going to struggle with fertility. The seventh issue, or the seventh misconception or myth surrounding endometriosis is that you cannot get endometriosis if you are a teen. You cannot get endometriosis if you are young. And this is false. So endometriosis affects all women of childbearing age, or all women that are capable of reproducing and becoming pregnant, all women that are fertile. It has nothing to do with age, and more so to do with genetics, such as your family history. If you have a sister, if you have a mother or a grandmother that had endometriosis, this is going to increase the likelihood that you may struggle with endometriosis, as well as an autoimmune disorder, since endometriosis is considered in most cases to be an autoimmune response within your body. So that is what the issue is with endometriosis. It has nothing to do with age and everything to do with the autoimmune response and genetics and being of childbearing age or being fertile or able to reproduce. So you can indeed be a teenager and have endometriosis. The eighth misconception about endometriosis is one that I used to believe, and something that probably stopped me from talking about endometriosis with my doctors a long time ago. And it's also one of the misconceptions that people would always tell me when I was discussing or sharing my suspicions that I thought I had endometriosis. And that is the myth that if you are not experiencing intense pain, then you truly do not have endometriosis. And this is false. And again, this is false because just like any other disease, symptoms are going to present itself differently person to person. So one person may have no symptoms, another person may have all the symptoms, and another person may be somewhere in the middle. It just depends on each person's unique health history and each person's unique physiology and biology and chemistry within their body. So it has nothing to do with pain level or symptoms or any of those things. What it has to deal with is inflammatory markers within your body, as well as the presence of endometrial implants that are growing and developing outside of your uterus. Pain, all that has nothing. The ninth misconception surrounding endometriosis is that surgery cures endometriosis. This is false. So there really is no cure for endometriosis. It is a chronic condition, which means that you're going to be dealing with this issue for the rest of your life. Chronic, chronic condition, chronic illness. It's not going to resolve itself. You're going to have to manage it. And that is what endometriosis is. It's considered a chronic illness and a chronic condition. So with that being said, there's no way for you to technically cure endometriosis. There are different ways or different things that you can do to help manage it, to decrease the pain and to better manage your symptoms, whether that's through holistic alternative medicine or whether that's through conventional medicine such as birth control. Those are your options when it comes to properly managing your endometriosis. Surgery is another option. So with surgery, primarily excision surgery, it is going to actually excise or dig up and remove those endometrial implants that are within your body, and even endometriomas, which are the cysts that can sometimes happen with endometriosis. That excision surgery is going to help to remove those implants, remove those cysts that are caused by endometriosis, which is going to improve your fertility, improve your pain, and decrease the symptoms that you're experiencing. But if after your surgery you do not have a plan in place, whether it's through alternative holistic means or whether it's through taking something like the birth control pill or discussing with your doctor some type of hormonal intervention or whatever the case may be for you, in order to suppress your body's ability to continue producing those endometrial implants outside of your uterus, there is a risk that your endometriosis is going to grow back and you're going to have it return. So surgery is not a cure, it is just a method to help decrease endometrial implants, improve fertility, help with pain, help with managing symptom, and help those women that are experiencing really progressive endometriosis and that are looking for better solutions to manage their pain. The 10th misconception about endometriosis is that birth control pills cure endometriosis. This is so false, and I learned this the hard way. Birth control pills, specifically progestin-only birth control pills, are going to help suppress or slow down the rate that those endometrial implants grow and manifest outside of the uterus. But by no means is it a cure for endometriosis. As soon as you go off those birth control pills, you can definitely expect that your endometriosis is going to grow back, and in a lot of cases is going to grow back with a vengeance. So birth control pills are not a cure for endometriosis, but they can help you to manage your symptoms, especially if you have painful periods. They can be helpful, or they are a helpful tool for many when it comes to helping manage and suppress symptoms of endometriosis. The 11th misconception about endometriosis is that you can only get endometriosis within the pelvis. Now, it is true that you do most commonly get endometrial implants on organs within the pelvis, such as the fallopian tubes, the ovaries, the bladder, and such. But in rare cases, endometrial implants have been found on the lung, it's been found on the liver, there has even been endometriosis found in the brain. So endometrial implants can form wherever they want to. It's important to remember that with endometriosis, this is an autoimmune response within your body. So your body isn't functioning or acting the way that it should. So there's no holds barred when it comes to endometriosis deciding to create endometrial tissue anywhere it wants to. Additionally, it's important to remember that endometriosis is a whole body disease and that it is an autoimmune disease for all intents and purposes. Even though it's not technically categorized as an autoimmune disease, it really kind of sort of is. So with endometriosis, it causes inflammation to present itself within the body, which is going to throw a lot of the natural processes within your body off whack, especially if you have endometrial implants in certain locations or areas of the body. For instance, if you have endometrial implants on your intestines, it's going to cause and wreak havoc with your digestive health. It's going to wreak havoc with your gut health as well. All of this is due to the inflammation. All of this is due to that tissue thickening and shedding and that blood not being able to escape the body, which is going to cause it to lead to scarring and adhesions where it's beginning to adhere and stick to other organs. So we have that whole inflammatory process happening, and that's going to contribute to hormonal imbalance. It's going to contribute to gut imbalance. It's going to lead to so much dysfunction happening within your body. So there are a lot of different illnesses and chronic conditions that you have with endometriosis due to the fact of the inflammatory nature or the inflammation that's happening within your body. So while it may be something that's occurring in the pelvis, or you may have endometrial implants in other areas such as your lung, your liver, your bladder, your brain, what have you, that inflammation that is present within the body is going to cause dysfunction in every other system within your body, and it can present itself in various ways. So it's super important to know and to understand that. And the final myth and misconception that I want to talk about that is associated with endometriosis is that hysterectomy cures endometriosis, and this is false. Now, while there are some women that do choose to get a hysterectomy and they are able to excise a lot of those endometrial implants or excise any endometrioma cysts, and they find relief and they do not have any further issues with endometriosis. But in other cases of women that have hysterectomies, they still experience some pain and issues with endometriosis. So again, Everyone has a different body, everyone's experience is different, everyone's physiology and chemistry and biology is different, so there is not a one die-hard rule or solution that's going to fit everyone. There's variables to everything. That's just science. So this is false. For some women, it's successful, and for other women, it's just not successful when it comes to properly managing their symptoms. And better yet, for some women, they just don't want a hysterectomy because that is a complication or an issue all in of itself. So there's so many different ways to go with that. There's just it's not a solution for a lot of people, okay? So that is all for this video. I hope that you found this informative and insightful. And I also hope that you got a better understanding of what endometriosis is and how it affects the body. And if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy learning more about women's health and empowerment, I encourage you to subscribe. Make sure you ring that notification bell so that way you are notified every single time I upload a video here on this channel. Until next time, have a wonderful day.